It says 8 friends, Aman, Bharat, Rohit, Dinesh, Ishant, Farhan, Aditya and Hirinder are sitting around a circular table facing the center, but not necessarily in the same order. Each of them has a different designation, which are banker, teacher, company MD, politician, corporate leader, general manager, specialist officer and CEO. And from here the clues have been given, right? Aman sits third to the right of CEO, only 2 people sit between CEO and Hirinder and so on. So first of all, draw a circular table and there are 8 friends, right? So mark those 8 positions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Alright, there can be multiple possibilities when you are trying to complete the arrangement. We will take it up as and when it comes. So the first statement here is, see, the first thing that we need to understand is that all of them are facing the center. So one problem is solved. All the persons face center, meaning what? Left is always clockwise and right is always anti-clockwise. Okay. Now read this statement. It says Aman sits third to the right of the CEO. Aman sits third to the right of CEO. Let us assume that the CEO sits here. Now who is the CEO? We don't know. But what we know here is Aman sits third to the right of CEO. What will be the right of CEO? Anti-clockwise. So first, second and third, Aman would come here. Just to distinguish, what I would do is put the designations inside a circle and names simply as name there. I mean, so that we should know whether designation has been filled or name has been filled. So like in this position, we have got the designation. We don't know the name of the person. Here we know the name of the person, but not the designation. So Aman sits third to the right of the CEO. Only 2 people sit between CEO and Hirinder. Now this also is usable immediately, right? Only 2 people sit between CEO and Hirinder. Now CEO is here. 2 people between CEO and Hirinder. There are actually 2 possibilities. 1, 2, Hirinder, but that's not applicable here because Aman is already seated. So the other possibilities, 2 people on the left hand side and here comes Hirinder. Right, so only 2 people between CEO and Hirinder. Next, the specialist officer and the company MD are immediate neighbors. The specialist officer and the company MD are immediate neighbors. And next it says, if you see, neither Aman nor Hirinder is either a specialist officer or a company MD. So try and use these 2 statements together, right? The specialist officer and the company MD are immediate neighbors. Now, when you say specialist officers and company MD are immediate neighbors, basically these 2 are designations, right? SO and MD, let us say. Now, 2 designations have to be together means there are multiple possibilities. They can take these 2 positions, they can take these 2 positions, they can take these 2, they can take these 2 positions here or these 2 positions here. So about 6 possibilities, right? But then the next statement says neither Aman nor Hirinder is either a specialist officer or a company MD. So basically specialist officer and company MD cannot come in these 2 positions. So now if you relook at the possibilities, what happens? We want 2 consecutive positions for SO and MD. We want 2 consecutive positions for SO and MD. What are the possibilities? SO and MD can come in these 2 positions. They cannot come here now because see, this is not allowed. This person cannot be a specialist officer or MD. Similarly, these 2 positions are also ruled out because this position in between is not allowed for SO or MD. This side also, these 2 are ruled out because Aman cannot be a specialist officer or MD. And these 2 are also ruled out. But then these 2 are possible. You're getting it? So there are 2 possibilities. Specialist officer and MD can take these 2 positions or they can take these 2 positions. Yes or no? 2 consecutive positions. So let us let us consider the 2 possibilities, right? There are 2 possibilities. Let us consider both of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? This is the CEO, right? Here we have Aman and here we'll have Hiren. What we know? Let us say specialist officer and MD will take these 2 positions. Again, remember, these 2 can be interchanged because what we know is these 2 are for specialist officer and MD. But who is specialist officer here and who is MD is not very clear. So these 2 are interchangeable. Similarly, specialist officer and MD. Specialist officer here and MD here. You getting it? So these 2 are again interchangeable, right? I mean, we can swap these 2 positions basically. What we know is they are together, but who sits exactly where is not mentioned. Okay, so we can consider the 2 possibilities. So just draw an arrow again. Don't try to take 2 more possibilities and SO in one place, MD in one place, and then interchange and all that. Don't do all that. Just try to mark that. Now next point. Okay, next point is also about specialist officer. So what does it say? The specialist officer is not an immediate neighbor of CEO. Okay, so this clears the confusion. Specialist officer is not an immediate neighbor of CEO. So CEO and specialist officer are not neighbors. Yeah, so we have actually taken in the same fashion, right? So now we can, clear this because we know that the positions what we had marked was correct. Specialist officer should not be an immediate neighbor of CEO. By any chance, if you had taken specialist officer this side, you should have interchanged it after reading this statement. Okay. Next point. The banker sits second to the left of Ishant. The banker sits second to the left of Ishant. Banker sits second to the left of Ishant, but neither the banker nor Ishant is marked here. So that statement will not be useful immediately. And it says Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. So this can be used, I think. Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. So use these 2 points together, right? We know that the banker sits second to the left of Ishant. Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. Okay, there's something more with banker. I think these can be used together. All these 3 statements can be used together. The banker is an immediate neighbor of both the politician and corporate leader. Again, there is a statement about corporate leader. So I think these are all connecting statements. We have to use it carefully. Okay. So what do we know? The banker sits second to the left of Ishant. Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. So first of all, let us find out what cannot be the positions of Ishant. What do we know? Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. So Ishant cannot come in these 2 positions. Here also Ishant cannot come in these 2 positions because Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hirinder. Right? Now the banker sits second to the left of Ishant. And we also know that the banker is an immediate neighbor of both politician and corporate leader. So basically, banker will come between the politician and corporate leader. Let's say here is the politician and here we have corporate leader. So the banker would come between politician and corporate leader because banker is, see, the banker is an immediate neighbor of both politician and corporate leader. The banker is an immediate neighbor of both politician and corporate leader. So keep this point in mind. Of course, these 2 can be swapped. We can have politician, banker and then corporate leader. But banker should be between those 2 persons, those 2 professions. And Ishant is not an immediate neighbor of Hiren has also been marked. So what is the point now? The banker sits second to the left of Ishant. Try and find out the position of Ishant. See, let us start from specialist officer. We know that Ishant cannot be the specialist officer. I mean, because he is not a neighbor of Hiren. Ishant cannot come here because he is already occupied by Hiren. Ishant, you know that cannot come here because Ishant is not a neighbor of Hiren. Ishant cannot come here because this has been occupied by Aman. So basically these 4 positions are ruled out for Ishant. 2 of them are already occupied by Hiren and Aman, and these 2 cannot be the positions of Ishant because Ishant is not a neighbor of Hiren. Now remaining 4 are left. Let us check in each one of them. Now what happens if Ishant sits here? We know that the banker sits second to the left of Ishant. The banker sits second to the left of Ishant. So if we take Ishant in this position, where should the banker come? Second to the left, first and second. But can the banker come here? No. Already CEO is sitting here, which means Ishant cannot come here. Let us assume that Ishant sits here. If Ishant sits here, where should the banker come? Second to the left, first and second. But here already the MD is sitting. So banker cannot come here. If banker cannot come here, Ishant cannot come here. Can Ishant come here in the position of CEO? Let us assume Ishant comes here. Right? Let us assume this is Ishant's position. Banker should be second to the left, first and second. This should be banker. But here we already have specialist officer. So Ishant cannot come in this position as well. Now the only possibility for Ishant here is this. Because see, already these are all crossed out for Ishant. Not possible. Ishant has to come here. If Ishant comes here, if you take Ishant in this position, where should the banker come? Second to the left, first and second. Which means Hiren should be the banker. Hiren should be the banker. But the problem is, we know that the immediate neighbors of banker are corporate leader and politician. Here the immediate neighbor of banker comes out to be specialist officer. Which means even this is not the correct position of banker. Because neighbors of banker should be CL and politician. Here we have SO. So if this is not the banker, this cannot be Ishant. So Ishant cannot come here as well. So if you see, there is no possibility of making Ishant sit in this arrangement. So the whole arrangement is wrong. See, obviously out of 2, 1 is wrong. We have now concluded the first one is wrong. Let us try the second one. You're getting it? Again, don't go by the length of explanation. See, because I am trying to explain it to you, it has taken so much of time. When you verify it yourself, very quickly you will come to know that first one is wrong. And then you can focus on the second one now. Now focus on the second one. Again, we'll use the same point that the banker sits second to the left of Ishant. Already these 4 positions are ruled out for Ishant for the same reasons. Hiren and Aman here, so Ishant cannot come, and Ishant is not a neighbor of Hiren, so it cannot come here. Let us try out the other 4 positions. Assume that Ishant comes here in specialist officer's position. So where will the banker come? First and second here. Second to the left, right? So banker should come here, but this is already the CEO, so Ishant cannot come here. Can Ishant come in MD's position? Let us assume yes. If Ishant comes here, what happens? The banker would come second to the left, first and second. The banker has to come here. the banker has to come here. But the problem is if you take banker here, CEO will become the neighbor of banker. But we know that CEO is not the neighbor of banker, which means banker cannot come here. If banker cannot come here, Ishant cannot come here, right? Now can Ishant come here in this position? Try it out. If Ishant comes here, where should the banker come? First and second. Yeah, the banker can come here. See, basically what we want is wherever the banker comes, the immediate neighbors professions should be available for CL and politician, which I think is possible here. You can take Ishant in this position. First and second, the banker would come here. If banker comes here, this can be CL, this can be politician. So possible. So Ishant can actually come here. This position is possible. Can Ishant come here in this position? Try out. If Ishant comes here, the banker would come here. First and second. And these two are still available for the other two professions. So I think there are two possibilities for Ishant here. Either Ishant will take the CEO's position or he will take the position here. And accordingly we will get the banker's position. So because there are two possibilities, I think we may have to take one more case, right? Anything else that can help us? The corporate leader sits third to the right of Bharat. Bharat is not marked. Bharat is not a specialist officer. Rohit sits on the immediate left of teacher. Aman is not a teacher. Farhan is not a neighbor of Aman. Nothing is useful. Aditya is not an immediate neighbor of banker. So I think we better duplicate this case quickly and take the two possibilities of Ishant, right? So let me quickly clear this up. I'm duplicating the current case, right? So duplicate, copy everything as it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What all have been fixed? Aman, Hiren, then specialist officer is fixed, MD is fixed, CEO is fixed, right? Anything else that is fixed? No. And we know that there are two possibilities for Ishant, right? Let's take both of them. So in one case, let us take Ishant here in CEO's position. So in the other case, let us take Ishant here. So here let us say this is Ishant. And in this case, let us say this is Ishant. You get it? So the two possibilities of Ishant have been considered. Now accordingly, where will the banker come? Ishant is here. First and second, the banker has to come here. Okay, and here Ishant is here, so banker will come here. Banker would come here. Okay, next. What else do we know? The corporate leader and politicians are immediate neighbors. So let us say this is CL, okay, and this is politician. Again, see, the point is we do not know which exactly is CL and which is politician. I mean, these two can be interchanged, right? As we had discussed earlier. Similarly, here let us say this is CL and this is politician. Remember, we do not know who is who exactly. I mean, Hiren can be CL or Hiren can be politician. Both are possible, right? So that's the point. Now read the next statement. The corporate leader sits third to the right of Bharat. The corporate leader sits third to the right of Bharat. See, the point is if the corporate leader sits third to the right of Bharat, Bharat will sit third to the left of corporate leader. Corporate leader, CL, sits third to the right of Bharat, which means Bharat is third to the left of CL. Bharat is third to the left of CL. Now you know that there are two possibilities for CL's position. Yes or no? There are two possibilities for CL's position. So with respect to both of those positions, we have to try. Right? The corporate leader sits third to the right of Bharat. Bharat is third to the left of CL. Bharat is third to the left of CL. So if you take CL in this position, where should Bharat come? Third to the left. First, second, third. Bharat has to come here, which is possible. But let's try this also. If you take CL in this position, what happens? If CL comes here, first, second, third, Bharat has to come here, which is not possible. So clearly, we know that there is an interchangeability possible here earlier, but now it is ruled out. Because if you take CL in this position, Bharat should be third to the left of CL. First, second, third. Bharat has to come here, but this is already occupied by Aman. So we can now conclude that this is CL and this is politician. Earlier we were confused, but now it is very clear. So let us clear what is there inside. And accordingly, if CL comes here, Bharat has to come third to the left. First, second, third. This will be Bharat. MD or the Bharat will be the MD. Similarly, in this case, if you take CL here, Bharat is third to the left, right? First, second, third. Bharat can come here. If you take politician here, first, second, third. Bharat can still come here. So here I think both of possibilities are there. CL, first, second, third, Bharat is possible. CL here, first, second, third, Bharat is still possible. Okay, but see, the next point given here is Bharat is not a specialist officer. I think this point we had not used. You see, Bharat is not a specialist officer. Here did we get Bharat a specialist officer? No. Next point says Bharat is not a specialist officer. Now see, if you take CL in this position, what happens? First, second, third, this should be Bharat. But we very well know that Bharat is not a specialist officer, which means this cannot be CL. If this cannot be CL, the only possibility is CL has to be in this position. And if CL is in this position, the politician has to be in this position. So now it is very clear, right? Now mark Bharat. Where is Bharat? Third to the left of CL, right? So first, second, third, this will be Bharat. Okay. Next, Rohit sits on the immediate right of teacher. Rohit sits on the immediate right of teacher. Rohit sits on the immediate right of teacher. I think we have already marked 6 positions, right? 6 designations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 2 things are left out. What are those 2 things? One is teacher. The other is general manager, GM, right? Everything else has been marked. Banker is marked. MD is marked. Politician, corporate leader, specialist officers, you are marked. So teacher, right? What is given here? Rohit sits on the immediate right of teacher. Now, let us assume the teacher comes here. Okay, but the next point says Aman is not the teacher. Okay, this point is also given here. So, very clear now. Rohit sits on the immediate right of teacher. Aman is not teacher. If Aman is not teacher, Ishant has to be teacher. Yes or no? And here, if Aman is not teacher, Bharat has to be teacher. You getting it? Bharat has to be teacher. Now, Rohit has the immediate right of teacher. Immediate right of teacher. According to the first case here, Rohit is on the immediate right. So, teacher is here. Immediate right of teacher is this position, CEO. So, Rohit comes here, which means Rohit is a CEO. And according to second case, Rohit is on the immediate right of teacher. So, Rohit has to come in Hiren's position, which is not possible because Hiren is already seated here, right? We cannot have Rohit and Hiren sitting in the same position. So, this is also wrong. So, this is the final arrangement. So, done. I think with respect to positions, everything is done. The only designation left out is general manager, which will be Aman. Now, how many names have been marked? Hiren, Ishant, Rohit, Bharat, Aman. 3 more names have to come. CL, SO and politician. What is the next point now? Farhan is not a neighbor of Aman. Farhan is not a neighbor of Aman. So, Farhan cannot come in these 2 positions, which means Farhan has to come here. And after that, we know Aditya is not an immediate neighbor of banker. Aditya is not a neighbor of banker. If Aditya is not a neighbor of banker, so Aditya cannot come here because this is banker. So, Aditya will be the specialist officer. Done. Only one name is left out now, right? I think we have marked Aman, we have marked Bharat, Rohit. Dinesh has not been marked, right? Ishant, Farhan, Aditya, Hirinder. So, Dinesh will be the CL. Dinesh would come here. And this completes the arrangement. Right? So, this is the final arrangement, right? Second one. I'll quickly read out the positions from CO, starting from CO in the clockwise direction because this looks a little clumsy. You must be able to follow it clearly. I'll first read out the names. So, starting from this position, Rohit, then Ishant, Farhan, Hirinder, Dinesh, Aman, Aditya, Bharat. And with respect to designations, CEO, teacher, politician, banker, corporate leader, general manager, specialist officer and company MD. Alright. So, that completes the arrangement. Please understand that because I was explaining it to you, it has taken so much of time. When you solve it yourself, I think this can be cracked in about 3 minutes, not more than that. I mean, though it is a complex arrangement, it won't take much time because if you see, all the statements are clearly connected. We did not do the second reading at all. Usually what happens in complex arrangements, we have to do the second reading because many statements are left untouched, which have to be used later on. But here directly every statement was used. So, I think this was simple. It was a simple complex arrangement.